Hi, Mystery Recap here. Today, I'm going to explain an American science fiction thriller film called The Thinning, New World Order. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. It is 2039 and the Earth has become overpopulated, and all nations must annually cut their populations by 5%. The United States implements the rule called thinning. In the thinning, the students must attend a standardized test every year. In the test, whoever fails is executed. However, the thinning scoring system was rigged. The officials manipulated the results to pass whoever they want, usually the children of rich parents. In the end, the foul play of the scoring system was exposed by a student named Lena. Blake Redding, the son of Texas Governor Dean Redding, failed the thinning test. He and the others who failed the test were to be executed. However, unknown to the public, they were instead sent to an underground slave labor facility to manufacture goods like phones and electronics for a company called Ashuru Global. This way, the company profits off cheap labor. It is now the following day of the thinning. Blake and the other students who had failed are brought to the underground facility. There, they watch a video of a lady explaining that they are the chosen ones, who get a second chance at life. The place is called an incubator and is designed by Ashuru. They have been brought here to work for the company. Lastly, she reveals that the most productive member of the incubator program gets reintroduced to society. The people happily celebrate being alive. The system then tells them to go to their respective assignment room. A teaching device has been inserted in all of their necks. An automated voice explains to them their tasks and routines. They will have to work for 14 hours a day before they get 1 hour of dining and personal time. They will also get curfews, in which they have to go to their assigned beds and rest. While watching the videos, Blake notices his long-lost girlfriend, Ellie, in a clip. Blake goes looking for her and the two finally meet. Blake cannot believe that she is alive. Ellie tells him to meet her in an hour when they have a curfew. The two meet at the living unit and have sex. Later that night, Blake is talking to his friend, Heather, when a siren starts ringing in the facility. One of the workers is trying to commit suicide because he doesn't want to work anymore. A group of boys from below encourage the boy to jump. Cage is the leader of a group. The boy eventually jumps, but the guards lay the nets right before and save him. It turns out that anyone who refuses to work is sent to an infirmary where they are injected with some kind of drug to docile them. Cage then comes to meet Blake at his living unit. He tells him that Ellie is his girlfriend now, and he should stay away from her. The following day at the cafeteria, Ellie sits alone at a table when Cage approaches and kisses her. Ellie seems uncomfortable the whole time. Heather and Blake watch the event unfold from their table, but cannot do anything. Cage and his team are called the Worthy. They are hand-selected by the incubator to supervise other workers. After the group leaves the table, Blake approaches Ellie. Frightened for his safety, she asks him to go away. Just then, Cage's men approach Blake and tell him to leave Ellie alone. Blake fights the men, but soon, Cage intervenes and overpowers Blake. Ellie and Blake manage to run away from the cafeteria, but they are then caught by Mason King, the ex-supervisor of the thinning exam who has been relocated to the incubator after the thinning scandal. After catching him, Mason twists Blake's leg and breaks it. Back in the town of Texas, everyone is at Blake's memorial service, as Blake is presumed dead by the public after he failed the test. Many reporters try to interview his father, Governor Dean, as he exits the premises. Lena has been on the press's radar after she successfully exposed the foul play of the thinning scoring system. The reporters try to interview her, but she dismisses them. The thinning fraud incident has caused a huge dent in Dean's reputation. He managed to blame the foul scoring system on Mason King, the exam supervisor, but the DPC has appointed a private investigator named Agent Joanne Morris to investigate the incident. Agent Joanne visits Lena at her home the following day. However, Lena doesn't provide her with any important information, so Joanne gives Lena her card and leaves. Just then, a man knocks on her door. It is a security guard named Jack, who has come to invite Lena to meet Dean. Later, we see Lena at Dean's. He reveals that he wants her help in his campaign for the presidential election. She strictly denies the job and leaves. On her way, she meets Ashuru Global's CEO, Georgina Preston. Ashuru Global helps Dean financially in his election campaigns, hence Dean and Georgina work together closely. Georgina vaguely tells Lena that she should consider the job for her siblings, Corinne and Joey. She tries bribing her, saying that her siblings don't have to appear for the thinning test if she works for them, but she still refuses. As Jack drives them back, he goes further than Lena's home. When she points it out, some kind of gas begins to fill the car and makes Lena and her siblings unconscious. Lena wakes up in a deserted construction site, with Jack and a few others standing in front of her. Corinne's elementary school teacher, Miss Cole, is there too. It turns out that Jack and Miss Cole work for an organization called The Fight, which is against the thinning system. If Dean is elected as the president, the thinning will never end, so they need Lena's help to work as their spy. They want her to take the job Dean just provided. Lena agrees. Meanwhile, Lena's best friend, Kellen, gets a job as an intern in the TV news company with a news reporter named Wendy Banks. That day, Kellen is doing his research on the after process of thinning. He realizes that no one handles the dead bodies after execution. At night he goes to Lena's, and asks her to join him at the cemetery. The two go there and dig up Blake's grave, and are surprised to find his coffin empty. Cut to 8 months later. It is 2 weeks until the election date. Dean has been campaigning for the elections, and Lena continues working in his support. She has also been constantly providing Miss Cole with all the information she could gather. That day, they meet at a construction site again. Lena is furious at being made to support Dean Redding's ideas. She accuses them of doing nothing they promised to. Miss Cole calms her down, and tells her that they now know that all the necessary information is in Georgina's computer. They provide her with a device to access her computer. Lena has to now figure out a way to get to Georgina's computer undetected. Meanwhile, Blake and the others have been working in the incubator for the past 8 months too. Blake's leg has still not healed. He limps when he walks. He has not been able to communicate with Ellie either. That night, Cage and his group come into Blake's living area while he is asleep. They gag him and hit his leg repeatedly as he whimpers in pain. The following day, he goes to Dr. Langley's clinic and tells her that he fell in the shower. When he comes back, he tells Heather to inform Ellie to be at Cage's boxing match the next day. Meanwhile, Kellen manages to crack the secret of the labor camps, saying Ashuru Global doesn't have a manufacturing area on their campus, and they have been insourcing military rations from a company called TXPAC, being able to serve food to 100,000 people per year. However, his boss Wendy dismisses him, saying that without a photo or video evidence, they cannot publish the story. When he gets in his car that day, a masked man from the back seat tries to suffocate him. He somehow manages to free himself and flees to Lena's house. He knows that someone from Ashuru is always listening, so he informs Lena of his revelations by writing in a notebook. It is now the day of the election. Lena drops her siblings off at Miss Cole's and leaves for the Ashuru's building, where Dean and his supporters patiently wait for the election results. Sometime later, Lena goes to the restroom, where a security guard escorts her. Meanwhile, at the incubator, Blake is at one of Cage's matches when he presents himself to fight Cage. The whole crowd watching the match goes silent. Blake wants to be the leader of the group if he wins. Cage agrees to the challenge. They then fight. Even though Blake's leg is injured, he overpowers Cage. The crowd starts chanting Blake's name. After an intense fight, Blake wins. Meanwhile, Ellie is in her bed and isn't moving. When the guards come near her, she attacks them, determined to get out of the facility. The guards eventually restrain her and take her to the infirmary for her punishment. After his win, Blake gathers Cage's group and tells them that none of the students from the thinning are killed. They are brought down for cheap labor. He also reveals that the reintroduction to society is a lie and they will be stuck there forever. After a lot of convincing, the group finally agrees to work together to fight the system. Blake and one of the guys go to get Ellie, while others go to the cafeteria. Lena, on the other hand, jumps out of the bathroom's window and somehow manages to reach Georgina's office. There, she uses the hard drive that Miss Cole gave her to gain access to the computer. She finds out all the camera footage from the incubator, and is beyond surprised and delighted to see that Blake is alive. She quickly transfers all the information to the hard drive. However, while she is in the office, Georgina is about to come in. Jack stalls her, saying that Dean wants to meet her urgently. Till then, Lena takes the hard drive and gets back to the restroom. However, after being caught in a lie, Jack is restrained by the guards. Lena then quickly calls Agent Joanne Morris, who had been appointed to investigate the thinnings case. At the incubator, Blake deliberately hurts himself to be taken to the clinic where Ellie is. There, he and a friend get rid of a guard, and stop the doctors from injecting Ellie with a drug. The two then take out the tracking device in their necks and flee. In the cafeteria, Cage and a guy start a fight, as their plan to stall the guards. Soon, all the other workers join, creating chaos. Mason gets to know this and goes to the cafeteria with other guards. He is furious and checks Blake's tracking device to see he is in the clinic. Meanwhile, Lena and Joanne meet at a terrace. Lena gives her the hard drive and tells her everything she knows about Ashuru. But it turns out that Joanne too is corrupt, and works for Ashuru. She then holds Lena at gunpoint. Lena somehow defends herself and manages to run away with the hard drive. She goes to Kellen, who makes a copy of the file to take it to Wendy to broadcast it. Lena stays at his house for her safety. However, as Kellen starts his car, it explodes, killing him. Joanne and some men come looking for Lena. She sets up a trap and runs out through the back door. The guards fall into the trap, creating an explosion. However, Joanne comes out unharmed. She attacks Lena again, but this time, Lena pushes her off the stairs, killing her. Meanwhile, Jake and Ellie dress up as the nurses and run through the basement of the incubator. Mason follows them behind. The two find a ladder reaching the top of the tunnel and climb up, eventually getting out of it. They celebrate happily, and are about to run when Mason reaches there and attacks them. Elsewhere, at the Ashuru building, the election results come out in the favor of Dean. Everyone celebrates happily. He is now the new president of the United States. Meanwhile, Lena finally reaches the BNC News Center, and shows Wendy Banks the proof. They quickly rush to the opening of the incubator in a chopper. They broadcast Mason fighting Blake. Dean sees the broadcast and is beyond surprised to see his son still alive. Still, he gives his first presidential speech. Dean's PA tells Georgina that there is no way around this scandal now. However, Georgina has a plan. She arrests everyone who ever talked against Redding, and plans to end democracy once and for all. Blake and Lena finally reunite and kiss. They stop when Lena sees Ellie behind Blake. Just then, they too are arrested for speaking against the thinning test. As the police drive them, they get into an accident but thankfully are not injured. Suddenly, Jake comes to them and frees them. Jack tells them that they will defeat Redding and Georgina, and take things back to normal. The movie ends abruptly, hinting at the third sequel. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.